Hello and welcome to Take Six. I am streaming executive producer Thomas Mates. Julie Broughton is out on a shoot today. She is out in Melbourne ahead of our Hits the Road show, which will be on Wednesday, September 18th. We hope to see you there. She's working on a couple stories today, and we'll be airing those in the week leading up to our big show, and of course on the day as well. Again, that's September 18th. We'll be at Squid Lips in Melbourne. You need to come out and meet with us. That would be great. We've got a lot going on today. We're going to be talking Blue Man Group. We're going to be talking Halloween Horror Nights. But first, we are talking Tropics. And we are going to turn to meteorologist Michelle Morgan. She has all the info that you need, and I will get her up in 1 second. Here we go. How's it going, Michelle?
Hey, it's going good, Thomas. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I just want to, before I let you go and give your forecast and talk about today's weather as well as everything that's out in the tropics, I want to give people just a little peek behind the curtain. In the morning meetings, our meteorologists always join us and give us like a briefing on the day. And when you announced that there were five blobs, waves out in the tropics that we were talking about, most of the meteorologists they get very excited. You know, they're weather nerds, which I'm sure you are too. But you are just like, I'm over this. I'm sick of your nonsense, Mother Nature. Five? What are you talking about? So I just
Yes,
was,
hurricane season over. Come on.
yeah, I just want to say I appreciate your honesty on that because I think we're all feeling it, and it's you are all of us right now. But
Yeah,
please,
just the stress, the anxiety, and
hmm
everything that comes with hurricane season. We all just want it to be over. But yes, you are correct. I am monitoring five tropical waves out in the Atlantic Basin, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea. So there's a lot going on. Even though all of them they have low chances for development, they need to be watched to see what they'll do in the next several days. So we'll go over that forecast, but I do want to start off with our local forecast across central Florida. So it started raining very early this morning in a few spots. And here's why. As we take a look at the setup, it's going to stay unsettled not only today through the rest of the week, leading into the weekend, all thanks to this stationary front that is draped over central Florida, and it stretches all the way to southeast Louisiana and coastal Texas, bringing heavy rain to those parts this afternoon. And it'll stay that way as we go through today and also tomorrow. We also have a ton of moisture that is pushing to our north and west, and that's coming from the south and east. So that's going to continue to increase the humidity. So it'll be hot and humid. And of course, with all of the tropical moisture in the atmosphere, there's still a lot of energy where a lot of those thunderstorms that develop later on today it'll tap into that energy and produce heavy rain at times, which could lead to localized flooding. And because of that, as we take a look at the rainfall outlook for today, now this is different than the severe weather outlook. This covers where areas could potentially see some flooding. So, heavy rain possible between 1 to 3 inches, even locally higher amounts possible. And that will lead to some flooding, some nuisance flooding in low lying areas and poorly drained areas, which we've seen in a few areas through the past couple of days or so. And right now, I'm already tracking some showers and thunderstorms beginning to bubble up across central Florida. So you want to make sure you have that rain gear ready to go, rain boots, ponchos if you're heading out to the theme parks. Also, today is not the best day to go out to the beaches because it's cloudy. It's also rainy in a few coastal cities this afternoon. And also, there's a high rip current risk out in Sumter County, tracking heavy rain in a few locations by Webster and Bushnell, seeing some decent rain at the moment. And this will continue as we go through the rest of today, lasting into tonight. Now, temperatures are warming up. We're in the 80s for many of us, 86 in the villages, Ocala at 87, DeLand 87, 91 in Titusville, and 90 in Cape Canaveral. Now, when you factor in the high humidity, it's already feeling like 105, 106 degrees across the area. So, if you get that cooling rain, it'll bring down those temperatures. But as of right now, many of us were not seeing that cooling rain, so it's pretty hot outside. So, as you take a look at your hour by hour forecast, the temperature steady in the middle to upper 80s in the next hour. We're in the lower 90s this afternoon, and notice your rain chances continuing to go up to 70% between 4 and staying at that elevated percentage up until 8, 9 o'clock. So many of us will see a good soaking rain. So I don't know about you. I got the chance to give my sprinklers a break. So hopefully that'll be the case for you today. Now, forecast highs, we're heading into the lower 90s for many of us, upper 80s along our coastline. But again, with the high humidity, it's going to feel so much hotter than that. So, as to take a look at the future forecast or future radar, excuse me, clouds and rain showing those showers and thunderstorms popping up across central Florida. We're looking at Marion County, also portions of Flagler County, parts of Volusia County, and our coastal communities. Cape Canaveral could potentially see a good downpour, even the Kissimmee area seeing a good downpour around that time frame. Fast forwarding things, most of the shower and storm activity now shifting west of the I-4 corridor. So Sumter County and Marion County still seeing scattered rain and a few thunderstorms. Now that is going to continue through sunset and even into tonight. After 10, 11 o'clock, I do think most of the shower and storm activity will come to an end, but we may see some lingering showers. We may see a strong cell producing heavy rain. Again, that will be hit or miss. And then after midnight, most of the showers and storms fading, leaving us with mostly cloudy skies, giving many locations the opportunity to dry out before more rain heads our way tomorrow as we wrap up the work week. Now, what's going on in the tropics? Right now, we are looking at 5 areas, 5 tropical waves. All of them have a low chance for tropical development. I'll start from east to west. So, the furthest one, closer to the coast of Africa, has a 10% chance in the next 2 days, a 20%. And that is just the development area where we could see a broad low or a tropical depression try to form. Now, as we head to the central Atlantic, again, that wave not looking like much. It is north and west of, or north and east of the Lesser Antilles, has a very low chance of tropical development. More than likely, it's not going to amount to much. It'll get caught up with some wind shear. And there's a very healthy wave in the northern Atlantic that has a 20/20 chance in the next 2 to 7 days, a percentage, of course. We'll continue to watch that, but it looks like it won't affect us here in Central Florida. Now, as we head to the Western Caribbean, that wave closer to the Bay of Campeche or the Yucatan Peninsula, I should say, it's not going to do much in the next 2 days, but it has a 30% chance for tropical development in the next 7 days. And the National Hurricane Center has highlighted the Bay of Campeche for tropical development. So we'll continue to watch that because that's a little bit closer to us. Now, there's one wave that is hanging out over the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. The National Hurricane Center has highlighted that little spot there for with a 10% chance for tropical development in the next 2 to 7 days. Now, it's not going to amount to much. Long range models not showing it developing into a tropical system. So it's very unlikely for it to develop into anything. But regardless of development, it is going to bring heavy rains to coastal Texas and Louisiana today and tomorrow and possibly Saturday. So that could lead to flash flooding in those areas because those areas are already below sea level. So that's bad news for them. And they're already seeing that heavy rain at the moment falling over coastal Texas and Louisiana. So we are nearing the peak of hurricane season as we take a look at the tropical climatology dated back since 1851. Usually we do see an uptick of tropical waves out in the tropics, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So this is normal. The peak of hurricane season is September 10th, so we're 5 days away. And so far, we've had 5 named storms for the season. And of course, we still have a lot of hurricane season to go, so don't let your guard down, even though things are, again, in quotation, still rather quiet. But that's the latest update on what's going on in the tropics. There are no tropical threats to Central Florida. Right now, we're just dealing with our standard showers and summertime storms producing heavy rain. So that'll continue today with a 70% chance for that, high of 94. As we head into Friday, still keeping an elevated rain chance at 70% with a high of 93. Now, as we head into the weekend, staying unsettled on Saturday. Again, that stationary front will still be over the area with a high of 93. So if you have any plans, it's not going to be a complete washout, but scattered rain, heavy rain certainly possible. Now on Sunday, a lot of models are showing that same stationary front transitioning into a cold front, and that cold front could possibly bring in a little bit of dry air, knocking down those rain chances to 50%. It's still going to rain in a few locations, but the rain chances will be a little bit lower with a high of 92. Now, heading into next week, temperatures will be right near average in the lower 90s, upper 80s, with a 50 to 60% chance for scattered rain and storms, Thomas. So we're looking at an unsettled week, unsettled weekend, pretty normal for this time of the year, but cooler weather is on the way because fall is not
Thank
too
God.
far away from us. So I'm looking forward to it, the cooler weather. So that'll be refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all thankful that there's no tropical threats to us right now, but I
Absolutely.
will say that like those, standard summer storms here are still no joke. I saw Trooper Steve driving through one earlier on Trooper Steve on patrol, and it was like a whiteout blizzard at points. Like you couldn't see the cars
Yeah.
right in front of you. So just,
Oh,
be
yeah.
careful out there.
It gets really bad sometimes. You're looking at like a curtain of blinding rain. So you have to be very careful, especially if
Mhm.
you're driving in those conditions. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you go. I know you were in early today, so I'm sure you want to head on home. Thank you again so much for your
Thanks,
time.
Thomas.
All right.
Bye.
We'll talk again soon. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. So now we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to be talking with our theme park expert, Haley Coombs. She spent the day down at Icon Park looking at the groundbreaking for the new theater for the Blue Man Group. She's also recently done a stint at Halloween Horror Nights, and she has all the inside scoop on what you can expect there. We'll get to that in about 2 minutes. Hello, and welcome back to Take 6. Again, I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates. Julie Broughton is out on a shoot today, but right now we are joined by a very special guest, a colleague of mine who sits directly next to me on a day-to-day basis. We're always cracking jokes with each other, and I'm really excited to have her here today. Today, we are joined by Haley Coombs, our theme park expert and the author of the In the Loop Theme Park Scoops newsletter. All the great theme park coverage that you see on our website. It's at least, I would say, what, 90% Haley?
Probably, yes. Yeah,
Probably,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, good. So, Haley, you got a chance to go out today with reporter Ezzy Castro as they're breaking ground on the new Blue Man Group Theater down at Icon Park. Give us just a little backstory. This is, they went away and now they're coming back. So, tell us how we got to today.
Yeah, they pulled out of Universal Studios in 2021. And at the time, people were bummed, but at the same time, they're like, okay, well, maybe they'll come back hopefully one day. And yeah, the CEO was there and he was talking about how what better place to bring this iconic group back than Icon Park. So yes, we got to have a chance to go out there today. And if you're familiar with Icon Park, you roll up there from the Universal Boulevard side. There's a small parking lot area, and there's not a lot of room. So we're rolling up to this groundbreaking, and this is footage from earlier. And of course, you have to have the trio coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were there, and I'm sitting there in the grass, just wondering to myself, like, where's the building gonna go? And it's going to be right at the feet of the Orlando Eye, which to me blew me away. Because
Yeah.
I'm no engineer expert and I can't
Mm-hmm.
have that sort of vision anyway. But I just was amazed. And this is a video I took just to give you an idea. But yeah, I was seated right there. That is where the 500 some seat theater is going to be. And they
Yeah.
also have a goal of opening this by the end of the year.
That
Yeah.
that doesn't seem possible. I don't.
No.
I mean, kudos
Yeah.
to them for being ambitious, but that seems like an engineering marvel. Like,
I agree. I
and
agree. And go ahead.
no, I was gonna say 500 seats in that compact little space,
Hmm.
sitting between the support struts of the wheel.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yes. Yeah, and they're talking about, the CEO was talking about, like, oh, we already have the blueprint the blueprint of this, and
Hmm.
it sounds like they even just kind of set it like a kind of like Wizard of Oz, so to speak, like set a house right there. But yeah, I mean, and again, end of the year, I was actually thinking about, like, well, like, ring in 2025, and so they're being not very optimistic, of course, but yeah, and another thing that we can always say about Icon Park that you cannot get at another or other theme parks in the area, the free parking.
Mm,
So that is
yeah,
something for families to consider, considering so many parks now. City Walk, Disney, you're paying well over $30 to park. So, and another thing that they were really praising, because when it comes to tourism in Central Florida, all the parks essentially are on the same side. We're all
hmm,
going to that goal of trying to boost our tourism. They were saying very great things about Universal, who previously housed them. But if you look at the geographics of this area, they are a hop, skip, and a jump from Epic Universe. So I
mm,
guarantee that they're also hoping that when Epic Universe opens next year, that they will also benefit from this park. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of like
yeah.
construction marvels, I do not know how they are going to get Epic Universe open, like with the grand scheme that they have for this thing, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
open in 12 to 18 months seems
Mm-hmm.
impossible. I mean, but I suppose
Mm-hmm.
you can move mountains with enough money.
Yeah. 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 But it was, I mean, if you've seen these shows, they
Hmm.
are just amazing. They are so intricate, innovative, color, comedy, music. So I'm excited to think just visually what that sort of theater is going to bring to Icon Park because yeah, it's they are. They it please audiences for decades and yeah, there's nothing like a Blue Man Group
Yeah,
performance.
I know that Trooper Steve, again, I was talking to him this morning before we were going live, and he
Yes.
was excited about this. He said he remembered going when he was much younger, when they were at City Walk, and just,
Mhm.
experiencing the performances. He was singing their praises. So I know he's
Yeah.
excited, and Steve doesn't get excited about much.
No, in fact, I saw him out there today,
Hmm.
and I picked him out in a crowd. I'm like, "Is that Steve?" And then he was so giddy. He could only could be there for a little bit, but he's like,
Yeah.
"I wanted to come to this," and I'm like, "Wow." So yes, he is definitely Blue Man Group has his support. Maybe
Hmm.
someday, maybe they can come into Results One. That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, Steve's used to doing all the talking. He's usually monologuing to camera. So, like, having three mutes just in there harassing him while he's driving around, I can't imagine what could go wrong. And,
We
yeah.
have ideas here.
So you're saying by the end of the year. So we're thinking like probably they're. I have to imagine they're going to be pushing that to the limit at, and like sometime December is what we're thinking.
Yes, yes. I mean, because I even was trying to get out of him, like, are you thinking New Year's Eve? Like, because that actually
Mm,
seems pretty cool to do like a New Year's Eve, show there. But
for sure.
he still seemed very optimistic. But yeah, even their website says 2024. I had to check that yesterday. I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, is this right? Because yeah, we're September 5th right now. Like, like what?
Yeah, and they're just
So
breaking ground
yeah,
today. It's
yeah. So, and we're used to other theme parks going at a certain pace
Mhm.
that we compare to. So I know they're not
Yeah.
Disney.
Hey,
So.
I have talked to in my capacity with Florida Foodie. I've talked to
Hmm.
many restaurant owners, and they say getting a permit just to like redo a kitchen is a Sisyphean task. You're trying to roll that boulder up the hill and it keeps falling back down on you. So if they can knock out a 500 seat theater in what are we at, 3 months now?
Hmm.
That's going to be very impressive.
Yeah, that's definitely a story I want to keep tabs on. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna do a
Yeah.
timeline of like this construction. Like what?
Yeah,
So
no, it's
anyway.
it's gonna be incredible. I'm sure we're gonna have Sky Six flying over there, within the next couple of weeks to see
Yeah.
the progress,
Good
for
idea.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So while
And
I
then we're
have,
going over to Epic Universe, so we can
yeah,
just buzz over there too.
exactly. So speaking of Universal and Epic Universe and all things, like that, I know that last week on Friday you got a special VIP tour of Halloween Horror Night. It was, as you came in Monday, you were giddy about the experience
Oh
still,
yeah.
some 48 hours later, and you were able to give us this week on clickorlando.com. There is a rundown of your rankings of the
Hmm.
houses. Now, like we said, you got kind of the VIP experience, but not everyone is as fortunate. So for those people, I know you said like I don't know how I'm ever going to go back. How could I after
I
experiencing the
know.
good life?
I know. I know. And
So
this was my. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah. Going off of that,
Hmm.
yes, this was my first media event covering
Hmm.
that angle. Halloween Horror has a special place in my heart because when I moved here 10 years ago between jobs, I picked up a little seasonal gig that was Halloween Horror Nights. So
Oh my.
I worked in the queue. I wasn't a character, but still, like having going there and doing a full circle moment, walking behind the scenes. So I was just like,
Hmm.
I remember some of this stuff, of course. But now I get to do it as a journalistic side. I mean, pretty pretty great, right? Pretty a
Yeah,
dream
for
come true
sure.
in a way.
Right? It's
um,
what makes this job worthwhile sometimes. You get those
yes,
opportunities to
yes.
like experience something and be that firsthand perspective that not everyone gets.
Mhm.
What one quick
Mhm.
little aside I'll say, speaking of characters, I'm originally from Pennsylvania and I went to school in Philadelphia, and in Philadelphia there is a giant haunted house at Eastern State Penitentiary every year, and it's very elaborate. It's on par with like a Halloween Horror Nights, just like one big house. And I had friends who would go there seasonally to work, and invariably they would either come back like congratulating themselves because like, oh, I made someone pee their pants tonight, or they'd be like, oh, some bro punched me when I scared him.
Yep.
So like,
Yep.
it's a tough task, and they'd always be
Yep.
hoarse by the end of it. So like, God bless those
Yep.
people. But anyways, sorry, that was a quick aside. The
But you know.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
It's
Yeah.
it's a tough gig out there. But speaking of, like just for people who need to speed run it, where should they focus their attention when they go into HHN?
So one of our guide articles, I did put down the map for this year. So definitely look at that before you head out there. But I'd say right entry, because you have to go through the main scare zone. But the 3 of the big IP houses are going to be in the sound stages. So if you go through and go to the New York area, that's probably where you want to go, because you have A Quiet Place back there. This is footage of a Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I did rank as number 1. So
Ooh.
you have A Quiet Place in the soundstage area. You have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and you also have Insidious. Now, I have talked to a few people who have been already, and there's a lot of conversation, of course, out there on TikTok, whatever. Insidious, there's a strong consensus that is the scariest house this year. And yes, I would have to agree. It's also the longest. So, but yes, this is footage of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This one just, my heart was so full. This is footage, by the way, I think is the best original house of the year, which is Slaughter Cinema 2, which is a sequel from a previous year. This is footage from Blumhouse Scare Zone. So if you're really wanting to get a photo of someone, that's your area. I mean, this is Megan, from if you've seen the movie Megan. So yeah.
I loved Megan. I thought it was
Yes.
wonderfully schlocky, like very reminiscent of like the 80s monster movies, your Child's Plays, your Friday the 13th, all those.
Yeah.
So that's great that they're really embracing it.
Yes, the Blumhouse Scare Zone was by far, the busiest area. This is video right here I took of She-Wolf in Eternal Bloodline, which is based on the Universal monsters of a female, all cast, so which was very well done. I ranked that pretty high as well. So, but I'm haunted by some of these houses in a good way. Like these are so, it's been a while since I've been, and I was smiling the whole time. I was just having such a great time.
That's great.
I don't take for granted obviously what I was doing, and the luxury of having a VIP tour guide, but this was just so well done. So,
yeah,
yes.
absolutely. I am a big horror fan. My wife, not so much. So the last time we were in Halloween Horror Nights a couple years ago, we haven't had a chance to go since, but she had some of the scare actors cracking up with how cartoonishly she was like burying her face in my shirt and things like that.
Oh yes.
So
yes. And that clip you just saw again of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the house does such a great job of incorporating nuggets from other previous films, throwback. So that footage right there, you might have recognized if you're a fan from Ghostbusters 2, the little Season of Evil Vigo. So, but yeah, that was
here. We're looking at it again.
Yes, he's coming around. Yeah, that part really got me.
Vigo the Carpathian.
I was very giddy at that moment. So
I know you can't hear the audio on this, but Haley is just like she's seeing a newborn child, just like
Yep, it was. My husband was behind me, and he was cracking up at that. So that footage right there, that is an actual model, a real model of the Ecto-1. There's only 25 in the world.
Wow.
And I couldn't get a good glimpse of it from behind, but that's actually half of one. So I know Ghostbusters purists might not like that, but yes.
That someone went and chopped Ecto-1 in half? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this scene, that scene you just saw, the mummy in the mummy strip club, that was very interesting and howling with laughter. I was cracking up walking through that scene, which honestly, that's another little tip of advice. If you said your wife's not into scary, but you just kind of have to embrace it as a comedy.
It's corny. It's silly. It's someone's job to go out there and pretend they're a werewolf or a killer robot doll or something like that. Like you have to stop and laugh at the absurdity of it if you can take a step back and pull your
Yeah.
suspend your suspension of disbelief. You
Yep.
know.
I think that helps. I think that would definitely help for people. But yeah, if you, again, especially if you go in the peak season, you're gonna have crowds. It's inevitable.
Mhm.
You have the express pass option that will usually cut down your wait time in half. That's usually the verbiage that Universal does.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely recommend going to the soundstage area first thing. Make a beeline. Go to one of those three houses if you can. And then the other houses are usually over. Or yeah, they're over by Men in Black, that area.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
And again, for
Mhm.
anyone who is interested in going, Haley has her rankings up right now. If you go to clickorlando.com/theme parks, you'll find this very article right here, and it'll lead you through all of them. You know, from 10 to 1. What places she recommends you check out. And of course, you know, people might disagree. You're entitled to your own opinion. Leave a comment. We'd love to see it and see how you feel about
Yes.
all the houses this year.
Yes, I love this kind of conversation when
Mhm.
when I'm talking about rankings. So a lot of people are ranking Insidious as number one. I do not argue with that at
Yeah.
all. Yes, it is freaky. Yes.
I mean, part of the fun of any fandom is having the debate, right? You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
who's going to
Yeah.
win, Goku or Superman?
Who's gonna win?
You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Haley, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let you go right now, but I'm sure you'll have much more up on clickorlando.com/theme parks as we go through the season, as we get closer to Blue Man Group opening up, as we get closer to Epic Universe opening up next year. Haley's on top of it all.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. No
Always
problem.
a pleasure.
Talk to you soon. All right, and that's it for us here on Take 6. It is almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I have some other work I need to do, but it's been a pleasure talking to you all, as always. We really appreciate when you stop by and watch us, and we will be back again at 4 p.m. right here on News 6, on News 6 Plus, on clickorlando.com, and of course at 6:30 you can also catch us on our News 6 YouTube page, where you can find all of our stories, all of our podcasts, Florida Foodie, Florida's Fourth Estate, Riff on This, anything you want, it's all there on the News 6 YouTube page and on clickorlando.com and right here on News 6 Plus. We hope to see you again at 4 p.m. Thank you so much and have a pleasant day.